Welcome everyone to the Carolina Outdoors. We're the outdoor guys from Jesse Brown's, and each week we come in and break down 4 different segments for your listening pleasure. We are in the middle of spring in the Carolinas, and it's a great time of year. It's always a great time of year here in the Carolinas, but especially these days. We've had our thunderstorms, but we've made up with those with the crystal clear spring days that we always enjoy these ways until, of course, the heavy summertime humidity hits us. But right now, it's a pleasure. Of course, the way we have been outdoors has changed, and we're going to talk a little bit about that on this edition of the Carolina Outdoors. Also, in later segments, we're going to talk about mountain biking. We're going to invite Tom Pearman of Jesse Brown's on to Studio Jesse Brown's to talk a little bit about that. So if you have an interest in mountain biking or maybe just a curiosity, stay tuned for that. Again, I'm Bill Barty, and sitting beside me is the general manager of Jesse Brown's, Mr. Wes Lawson.
Hey, Bill, good to be here today.
It's great to be here with you, and it's great to talk about some of the things that we're going to get to talk about, but let's hit some of the negatives before we go any further. So just a few negatives, then we're going to get to the positive. That's going to be the salve. So North Carolina, the bad news is the state parks and many of the national parks, of course, are closed, but the good news is they are going to be hopefully scheduled for reopening soon, so we'll be able to get outdoors and enjoy those beautiful parks that we have here. Good news, South Carolina, which is in close proximity to us here, of course, is opening up May 1st. Those state parks are preparing to open. All amenities may not be there, but at least you can go enjoy some of what the Carolinas has to offer, including, and we'll go into details more about this later, but Lansford Canal State Park, which is about 1 hour south of us here in Charlotte, alongside the Catawba River in Chester County, South Carolina, is where the Rocky Shoals spider lily bloom occurs from now, or usually it's May, and will pick up speed on into June. So, the good news, that park is scheduled to be reopened so that you can go down in the month of May and enjoy one of the largest blooms of the flower that continues to bloom in shallow, swift-moving water that Ford area of the Catawba River allows for. Plus, you can have a little bit of wildlife viewing and a little bit of history as well, as the canals built there were made for commerce way back in the 18th century. Is that right? Yes, 18th, 19th century. Check for details. That's one more reason you have to go. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about things to do now that don't necessarily take you going off campus, so to speak, too far. And Wes, you helped with this, and we aired it in a segment previously on the Carolina Outdoors, but backyard camping. Mm-hmm. I did it. I took my family out in the backyard, and I have 4 children. All 4 of them participated in beanie weenie cooking and s'mores and all of that, but only 2 of us made it through the entire night. It was my youngest and myself, the dad. I just want you to know that that's opened up a whole new can of worms in my household, in that 6-year-old, soon to be 7-year-old, of course, you cannot have birthday parties. Mm-hmm. We talked about that in the prior segment of blowing out candles, maybe going by the wayside for birthday celebrations. But for this little girl's 7th birthday, she wants to go backyard camping again. So let me put it out there. Many of you may have young children or grandchildren or young children that you mentor. Wes, you helped me before, but it's not necessarily just for the backyard camping. It's for household outdoor entertainment. Can you help me prepare and enjoy another great backyard adventure?
You know, one of the great things about being in the outdoors with our families and with young ones especially is they have such great curiosity. And then we are left with the choice of, do we give a truthful answer or do we make something up? And that's not always good when we're talking about poison ivy. So I've discovered an app, I'm sure there are others, but there's an app that I like to use called Picture This. You open the app, you take a picture of the plant while you're in the app, and it takes just a couple seconds, and it will tell you what it is. I've tested it out on some things that I know what they are, and it's been right every single time. I mentioned poison ivy because certainly we've all heard leaves of 3, let it be. Well, you know, poison ivy has different maturation phases and can look different. Poison oak can look different. We don't have much of a poison sumac problem here, but those plants can be very harmful for some people. I can look at it and get it, I'm convinced. So I've kind of learned how to keep my distance. But Picture This is great for that, but also if someone asks, well, what kind of tree is that? It looks like maybe it's a dogwood, is it? So that's a great app to have. Another great one is the Stargazer app. So at night you're going to hold the phone up to the sky and it's going to show you all of those different stars. It'll show you where the equator is. Maybe you'll see where the International Space Station is. And it can name the stars, constellations. For years I thought I was looking at one of the dippers. I was not. Yeah, so even things where you like, that's the Big Dipper. It may not be. Those are great fun apps. The other is just the camera phone. The phone that we have has these great cameras. In fact, we're bringing this segment from my iPhone. We have, of course, have a nice microphone attached to it, but the newer phones, you can adjust your depth of field so it will look like your subject matter is closer. The background will be blurred out. Things that used to take lots of photography experience and a good camera, now we can simulate with our phones. You can adjust the lighting on your phone. If you have an iPhone, hold it up to your subject, tap the screen on that person, and you can adjust the focus, or after you tap, slide your finger up and down the side, and you can adjust the lighting and the exposure so you can solve lighting troubles. You know, if it's bright outside, people get washed out, they look kind of like phantoms almost, or they don't show up. This will solve that problem. Or if part of their shirt is reflecting a little bit, you just tap that part of the shirt, slide your finger up and down to adjust the light, problem solved. Now that's not to replace the skill of a professional photographer, but it certainly gives us confidence when we're taking pictures of the backyard garden after it's been raining. It looks really pretty that way. Or maybe of our kids roasting marshmallows and enjoying a fire. That camera can open up all kinds of fun, and it's really pretty easy. Just don't be afraid to push buttons.
So I'm going to ask you, I think we have 4 different pursuits or hobbies.
That's right.
Or potential hobbies that I wrote down. And of course, I'm looking for these. It started by talking about the backyard camping trip, but this really has nothing to do with backyard camping trip. These are just good, all-American hobbies. And oftentimes we feel like we are in opposition in the outdoors to technology. But this sounds like an opportunity for us to embrace technology and the outdoors at the same time. So I have photography. That's what you really just talked about, is being able to take good quality photographs, pictures, when you're outdoors, whether you're in a flower garden, or maybe you're bird watching, or maybe you're trying to identify a plant, whether it be friendly or non-friendly.
Right.
The other one is night watching or stargazing or that sort of thing, and knowing what you're looking at. Now, for many people, that was with a telescope and maybe a book or something to tell you how to do it. But with the Stargazer app, we can, with the Stargazer app and the search engines on your phone, you can find out about Orion the Hunter and his 3 stars of prominence in his belt, and his dagger, and his sword, and the history of Orion the Hunter, all through search engines, of course, but also the Stargazer app.
Yeah. Use these as an appetizer to then get more knowledge about what we're talking about.
So, I'm going to note that. other one is improvements on my phone pictures. Now, I don't know if everyone out there follows Jesse Brown's, but oftentimes the good photos that you'll see posted on our Facebook page, on our website, or our Instagram, which we all invite you to follow, those good pictures are taken with Wes's phone, and the blurry, bad pictures are usually taken with mine. So I'm going to stick with Wes's input in that regards. Another hobby, in fact, it is probably the number one most prominent hobby for enthusiasts in the backyard or around the house is in the United States, is bird watching. Ornithology.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Ornithology, bird watching, and identifying birds. Now, I don't know, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Do you have an app
I do. I have a couple.
that will help us with birds?
The one I would recommend first is going to be the Audubon Society app, and the great thing about that app is it will also, it has recordings of bird songs and calls. So in my backyard, we have a pretty big bird population, but we do have some barred owls nearby, and those sometimes sound like mourning dove. And if you practice your hand whistle, you can call those. I was playing with this on my back porch a couple of nights ago, and the barred owl called back to the Audubon app when I played it.
Now that's cool, and I will tell you that app is cool because you played it at Jesse Brown's, and you can hear any bird on that app. It seems any bird.
It's impressive, you know. And some birds have a lot more song than others, but it plays all those. It's really pretty neat. All of these apps have free and paid versions, so you can kind of work your way through it. It's an easy, intuitive app. It's a lot of fun, and you can kind of figure out, well, who's that very talkative bird I hear early in the morning?
I'm glad you brought up free apps versus paid apps. So I'm going to ask you that, and I guess just for everybody out there, you can download these apps. If you have an iPhone, you go to your iStore, and if you have an App Store, and if you have a Droid or whatever, you go to the Play Store and just type in "picture this."
Mm-hmm.
Or to help you identify these plants that are out there, or just type in stargazer to help you with that, or the Audubon Society app. As you type those in, they will pop up, and whether you are sleeping indoors tonight or whether you are sleeping outdoors in the backyard camping trip that I will be on, you will be empowered to know what's around you.
Yeah. I think it's great to use this technology to have a better outdoor experience. We're not replacing anything. It's just giving you faster access to information while you're in the moment.
If you don't have a granddad to tell you all of this, or a grandmom, the next best thing may be this app.
I mean, Bill, we can't carry Don Yeager in our pocket to answer all these questions, but we can carry our phone.
Exactly. You are so right. Listen, we are the Outdoor Guys from Jesse Brown's. He's Wes Lawson. I'm Bill Barty. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about bicycling, mountain biking to be specific, in the next segment. We'll see you after this.